The Tenant of Wildfell Hall is a novel by the English novelist Anne Brontë. It was published in 1848. It is a bold and emotional story about love, marriage, and a woman's fight for independence in a restrictive society. It is considered one of the earliest feminist novels. Gilbert Markham is a young farmer. He works on his farm and lives a quiet life. There is a gloomy old mansion there called Wildfell Hall. A mysterious widow named Helen Graham and her young son come to live at Wildfell Hall as tenants. They keep to themselves. This sparks gossip in the village. Helen Graham is cold and reserved. Gilbert admires her strength and dignity. After some time, Gilbert falls in love with Helen. There are lots of rumors about Helen. Misunderstandings develop between Gilbert and Helen. Then Helen gives Gilbert her diary. Helen's story is written in her diary. Helen was Helen Huntingdon in the past. She was married to Arthur Huntingdon. Arthur was a charming but immoral man. At first, Arthur was attractive and fun loving. Then Helen and Arthur marry. After marriage, Arthur becomes cruel, selfish, and abusive. He drank a lot of alcohol. He cheated on Helen and kept the company of many corrupt friends. Helen suffered for quite a few years. She tried to reform Arthur, but to no avail. Arthur became worse. Helen feared for their young son. Arthur tried to attract their son towards his destructive lifestyle. In her diary, Helen wrote, I am satisfied that if a woman has sufficient strength of mind to leave her husband, she ought to do so. Helen wrote about her husband, I gave my heart to him and he broke it. In her diary, Helen spoke to her husband about their son. If you would have your children virtuous, lots, let them see you practice virtue yourself. Helen's husband was always trying to control her. In her diary, Helen addressed her husband, it is better to arm and strengthen your hero than to disarm and enfeeble the foe. This meant that the husband should not try to control others, rather, he should build his own strength and resilience. Helen also wrote, troubles seldom come singly. He that dares not grasp the thorn should never crave the rose. This means that love requires courage. One must accept pain as part of it. Helen wrote, I am no longer a child to be governed and controlled. When Helen was unable to endure her husband's abuse, she left her husband. She also wanted to protect their young son. She took on a new identity and hid at Wildfell Hall. Eventually, Arthur fell gravely ill due to his reckless life. Helen returned to nurse him in his final days. This showed her compassion. When Arthur passed away, Helen was finally freed. Now the story returns to the present. Misunderstandings between Helen and Gilbert are cleared up. They reunite. Helen is now independent. So Helen and Gilbert marry and hope for a happy and new life. Ellen Bronte is known for her bold and realistic portrayal of women's struggles. She shows that a woman has the right to dignity even within marriage. Marriage without respect becomes suffering. One must choose integrity over society's unjust expectations. Ellen Bronte also wrote many poems, often about nature, faith, and inner strength. These poems were published in a collection called Poems by Currer, Ellis and Acton Bell. This collection included poems by Anne and also her sisters Emily and Charlotte using pen names. Anne Bronte passed away at the age of 29. Rest in peace, Anne. We remember Anne Brontë as a brave voice of truth whose words still shine with courage and compassion.